Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. My name is Sarah Langworthy, and I am a singer in the National Lutheran Choir, and I am here with our new artistic director, Dr. Jennaya Robison. And we are here just to kind of have an evening chat a little bit about the National Lutheran Choir, what's coming up for this season, what we're excited about, and it's also a great chance for you to get to know a little bit more about Jennaya. So please leave your comments, your questions, anything that you want to know. The way to do that is in the comment section of the video. You can either do that on the YouTube Live. It's kind of to the right-hand side on your screen. You can leave a little comment, a little question for us. And in Facebook, do the same. Comment on the video, and we will see those. And we want to get to as many questions this evening as possible. So please let us know what questions you have. We also would love to know where you're tuning in from today. We know that we have obviously a lot of friends and fans here in the Twin Cities, but if you are tuning in from somewhere else completely, we would love to know that. So please let us know that in the comments as well. And next, I'd love to turn it over to Jennaya for just a second to kind of introduce herself and tell us a little bit about what's coming up this weekend. We've got, just a little bit of a weekend ahead of us.
Just a little bit. Yeah. So I'm Jennaya Robison. I'm Artistic Director of National Lutheran Choir, and we are thrilled to be able to open up our 2023-24 season, All Things New, with our first concert, which is our All Saints program, and it's called New Life, which seems a little counterintuitive when we're talking about All Saints, but it's a program that is really, I think, near and dear to the National Lutheran Choir audience. It's been a longstanding tradition, and we're excited to add and take that tradition and build on it in a little different way this year, but preserving so much of that special part of commemorating the new saints this year, but also, excited to be able to celebrate with people commemorating those who have been born this year as well. So it's going to be a fantastic weekend of concerts, and I think it's got a program. It's a program that has something for everybody in it. So I'm thrilled to be able to present it. So
yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm so excited for this weekend and for these concerts. There are so many pieces on this program that just hit you in all the feels. And as a singer, it's been really fun to get to know a lot of new pieces and new composers that I had not had an opportunity to sing before. And I just love how you're kind of piecing this together and really taking us on a journey together. So for those of you who are wondering, what concerts are we talking about? Well, I will tell you. This weekend, the National Lutheran Choir will be at Gloria Dei Lutheran Church in St. Paul tomorrow evening at 7:30 p.m. if you want to join us live there. And on Sunday, November 5th at 4 p.m. Central Time, I will remind you all that it is daylight savings on Sunday. But we will be in person at Normandale Lutheran Church in Edina. And also we will be doing a free concert live stream at nlca.com. So for those of you who are not local, if you would love to join us and love to hear this program, you can. So please join us at nlca.com for that concert live stream. So I hear over there that perhaps you might have a special guest with you this evening, Jennaya.
I do.
Is that true?
I do have a special guest here,
You do.
also bearing gifts. So
this is the best kind of guest.
Yeah, there you go. This is my husband, Brett Robison, and he is joining me here for the weekend to be able to come and celebrate the opening of our season here for National Lutheran Choir and to be able to attend the concert. So cheers.
Cheers.
Right.
Cheers, virtually.
Cheers, Sarah. And to anyone else out there.
And to anyone else who's enjoying a wine this evening. Yes,
That's right.
Indeed. Brett, would love to hear a little bit from you. I know that you are more than just Jennaya's husband, that you have a career in music as well. Would love to hear a little bit about what you're up to these days.
Well, yes, I my business card, I put I'm Dr. Robison's biggest fan, because I like to follow her around and No, in all seriousness, I'm just grateful to be here. I'm grateful, number one, before I get into just a little bit of my background, to just have a weekend where I get to just enjoy music and be an audience member, and let alone a supportive husband. I will never forget hearing the National Lutheran Choir. It was back in 1999 at the Chicago ACDA conference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was blown away. That was still under Larry Fleming. And then again, I don't know the exact year, but it's when they came to Arizona, and then David Sherwin was the conductor. And again, just absolutely memorized. Love the not just the sound, but the programming. And so now I get to hear it for the third time with someone I know really well. And so I am a choral conductor by trade for most of my career, and just like Jennaya, got a doctorate in choral conducting, and now I've moved into more arts administration, and I'm serving as the executive director of the Friends of Chamber Music Kansas City, which is a newer position for me, which I absolutely love so far. And have loved serving in these roles where I get to support someone else's artistic vision, which has been an absolute treat for me.
Awesome. Very cool. You mentioned Kansas City. And for those of you who are watching this evening, you may or may not know that Jennaya and Brett live in Kansas City, and that Jennaya has been commuting to the Twin Cities every week for rehearsals. But you were coming to us from Minneapolis this evening. You are here for the concert weekend. I'm curious, Jennaya, just because I need to add to my list of like podcasts and things to listen to. What have you been listening to on the drives that you would recommend for people?
I typically listen to a lot of true crime. And I know. And actually, it's our pianist for NLC, our rehearsal pianist, and who also plays the performances, Ann Wilson, who got me into this podcast, My Favorite Murder, that is really irreverent, and a lot of, don't listen to it with your young kids in the car. But she got me onto that years ago. And so that's probably my go-to when I need to just, be able to fill up some time. But another singer in the choir, Gina Toso, actually got me onto a podcast with Julia Louis-Dreyfus, this Wiser Than Me podcast, which is fantastic. And it's the, just stories of women who are, I think they're all over the age of probably 65. And it's fascinating and funny. And she is also irreverent and funny. So there's a theme.
I was like, is there a theme here? Maybe.
Yeah.
I love it.
So that's what but I've listened to a lot of podcasts, a lot.
Yeah. Are you an audiobook listener, or is that that as well? Any good books?
Yeah. What did I listen to most recently? Well, I was rereading the Century trilogy by Ken Follett, which is, it starts back in like pre-World War I and then up to kind of present day-ish. And I think I was reading it, and then I bought the audiobook too. So that I could listen to it. So each of those books are like 1,000 pages long. So, But nice. I've switched over to the podcast only because it's free, because I have Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, that does help. That's for sure. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, maybe you'll get some people hooked on some murder, crime, introspective interest podcast.
They're going to think less of me after that. So, yeah.
And Brett, I hear that you decided to fly today instead of do the drive.
It's fair. And if you knew anything about Jennaya and I in our past, I have been the one commuting for a long time.
Oh, okay.
Jennaya knows she can't complain about the commute to me. I've been doing it for about 10 years.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Okay.
I feel so spoiled now that my commute's 20 minutes. Oh my gosh, I'm already at work. This is crazy.
Right. Yeah.
Very cool. And I understand.
Oh, I was just gonna say it was really great to just be able to hop on a plane and be here in an hour. And
Yeah. It's a pretty short flight, which is good. That's
It is.
nice part. I was gonna say that I know that you both have known each other for like just a little hot minute, a little bit of time.
Yeah, just a little bit. I always like to say that Jennaya moved into my town.
True.
I like to make sure that that's known. Puyallup, Washington, in 8th grade. And so this, mystery girl showed up, and I guess because our last names, it was Jennaya Rogers and Brett Robison, we ended up being next to each other in lines a lot.
We were for attendance in PE. We were.
So we kind of got to know each other a little bit that way.
Talk to me.
And but it was primarily just, I still was, in 8th grade, I was a choir nerd. And I got the choir bug.
But you can't put nerd anywhere in that because Brett was cool and I was not.
But no,
but I remember
how I sat up in
But
choir,
that was the thing, is that he was super cool and popular, and that I looked over and I was like, that's really weird. He sits up so straight and holds his music up, where, in 8th grade, to be cool is normally you
it's like slouch.
But Brett was really serious about it. So
serious about nothing else, but choir. And Jennaya came in and was one of those kind of, singers that got all the solos, of course, that then the other sopranos were not happy.
Oh, yeah.
And, started to take notice, like, oh my gosh, like, listen to her. Is she really only 8th grade? We should check her passport since she had just moved from Germany. And we sang in choir almost throughout high school. She, of course, made the advanced group before I did.
It's okay.
Yeah,
It's still a sore spot now.
Yeah, a little sore. Other than that, we've been in the same choirs through our doctoral program.
Yeah,
and
nice.
And that's about it.
Yeah.
But we just to be clear, we didn't start dating. We can call each other high school sweethearts just because we started dating like the last 2 weeks of high school.
That's right.
We barely made it.
Barely.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that was 31 years ago.
Woo!
Yeah, right.
Cheers to that.
Cheers, yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. All right. Well, we would also love to hear from folks who are watching what questions that you have for Jennaya and or Brett with us this evening. But I'm going to throw out some questions that I came with because I'm curious. I'm wondering for this upcoming program, which piece on the program you are personally most excited about sharing? I know what I would say, but I would love to hear your answer first.
There's a couple that I think like, oh, I can't wait to conduct this. I mean, in my mind too, it's like, don't mess it up because I know it's really important for the singers. Probably top of mind is this piece called When We Are Old or When You Are Old. Yeah, When You Are Old. And it's by composer Hans Hareth, who I met a few years ago. His mother is also a conductor. And I was clinicking her choir in Liberty, Missouri. And she said, well, my son is a composer. And sometimes people say this and they want to give you music and you're like, I don't know. And she's like, no, it's really good. And I took the piece of music and I went and I looked at it. And this was another piece of his called Joy. And I went, this is fantastic. And so I programmed it for the Missouri All-State Festival Chorus that summer. And then I've just been a huge fan of his music since then. And so he's periodically just sent me, hey, here's a new piece. Here's something else I'm thinking about doing, or I'm just about finishing this. And last May, he sent me this piece of music. And I listened to it, and I think I listened to about 8 measures. And I went, I have to program this. And so I actually looked at, I thought first, I'm going to program it. And then I tried to find a concert. I went, oh, this would fit most appropriately here. Mm-hmm. So it's a departure for NLC because it's not what we think of as overtly sacred. It's not biblical. It's about unrequited love. And so, but I think that when you go to a program like the All Saints concert, you can't help but to sit there and think about your own humanity and your legacy and what you've been doing in your life or what you want to do in your life. And so I don't think we can discount that is, you know, an area of our lives that is really important. I know I see one of the singers. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that a lot of people, they, especially because, you know, this is a choir that is really quite young. I mean, many of the singers are, you know, fresh out of college, but then there are singers who are older. And I read this text and, you know, parts of it is like, I imagine somebody sitting across going, you know, when you're thinking about how your face is going to look older, you know, as, you know, we think about knowing each other for 30 years. And I look at him, and I was just looking at a video actually of us singing in choir together in high school today, just a couple hours ago. And I was like, oh my gosh, look at Brett. He looks so much like our youngest Ben.
Oh, yeah.
But
Poor Ben.
no, but I look at this face and I'm like, gosh, I mean, it's just remarkable to see how, you know, we change as we're older and that you are still loved. And yeah, it's a beautiful piece, but it really does, I think, make the singers think about life a little differently from maybe they have in the past with some of the concerts. So yeah,
I would agree. That one for me is the piece on the program. We singers often talk about how like there's sometimes just a piece that, you know, is like, this is the one that's just going to get me every time. And Jennaya, I would like you to know that I had a first time experience singing in this choir, which is that when we sight read this piece at the retreat, by the time we stopped sight reading it, I was like openly weeping. That has never happened to me when sight reading, largely because I dislike sight reading, but also because no pieces affected me the same way. So yes, for those of you who are thinking of coming to this program, you should definitely come just for that piece, if for nothing else. I know that we have a couple questions in chat here. So Abs wants to know, what is one thing that excites you about the NLC that you hadn't expected? That's a great question.
Oh gosh, you know, I don't think I expected them to be such a cohesive community. And I kind of laughed because I wanted to say social, but I mean, but well, it's true.
That too. Yeah.
I mean, we know that, I think that, you know, having conducted choirs and orchestras and stuff, it's a totally different animal. When you step on the podium in front of an orchestra, it can be jarring because they're very down to business. Mm-hmm. And choir is just chatty and can be unruly and not always, but, you know, they're just more social. Maybe it's because they just, you know, I don't know. But I have been so just pleasantly surprised by the level of community, that these are people that they've been in there, a lot of them for decades, but they're also each other's best friends. They're in their weddings. They're, you know, I mean, there's really, really special relationships that are forged in NLC that are unlike any other choir that I've ever dealt with at the, you know, post-college level. Mm-hmm. So it's, you can tell that people, they get in and this is so much a part of who they are and their life. And that is really something special.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with that assessment. This is like our thing that we do. And these are our people. And even if we're not like best friends with everybody in the choir, it's you care very deeply about all of these humans who you get to know throughout the years of singing in a choir like this. So yeah, I'm glad to hear that's the thing that's on your mind. That's great. I know we had another question in here. Let's see, which one do we want to pull up? Let's pull this one up. So when you're not planning NLC programming, what kinds of music do you enjoy listening to when you're driving, relaxing, working out, etc.? From Adam.
You know, so I call myself a runner, but, you know, I mean, I'm just getting back into it more right now. So when I work out, I typically don't listen to any music. And so you know, it's just kind of a weird thing. I think it just helps me to kind of calm down and be able to think, and it's almost meditative. But if I'm in the car, It's usually not classical music. I mean, I have the Brett and Jennaya fun traveling playlist, which starts out, I could look at it on my phone, but it starts out with Wham, and then it goes into Bee Gees, Michael McDonald, Kenny Loggins. Who else is on there? Some Justin Timberlake.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. Yeah. I mean, James Taylor. Yeah. So I don't know. But then, I went through a whole phase of like Black Eyed Peas, Justin Timberlake, all that kind of stuff, actually. Prince is on that film. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. So, pander to the Twin Cities audience. Yeah.
Seriously, that's all over the playlist.
We've got a question from Eli. So are there any pieces in the concert that you hear or experience differently than you expected now that you've had this many rehearsals with the singers?
Oh, yeah, that is a really good question. I was thinking just in rehearsal on Tuesday, actually, that the piece I Want to Die Easy, the Roland Carter arrangement, it has finally kind of clicked. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, with a choir that I haven't had that much time to engage in, okay, how do we approach the spiritual? And we've talked about it a little bit, but this idea of really kind of being free enough to adapt your tone for different types of literature, it seemed like on Tuesday it just went click. And so I really pleasantly surprised by how everyone just kind of, I think people took a little extra time to look at it. And, but I'm proud of how courageous the singers are by going outside of what people would think of as our typical kind of upper Midwest Lutheran tradition tone for some of these pieces of music. And I think that would be a really good example of one of them.
Yeah, that one is a great piece. And, shout out to David Sherwin, who has for years been trying to teach us how to do spirituals in an authentic way and in a way that honors where they come from. Right. And so we've sort of tried to figure out how to embody that in the ways that we can as white Americans, in the 2023. But it's really fun when it clicks with a piece like that and you're like, okay, here we go. This is what this is. And you feel like everybody in the room is kind of with you. That's a good feeling.
People should know too, Sarah also has a solo in that piece. It's fantastic.
Now I'm nervous. Great. Thanks.
That's right. Hey, when I was studying at the University of Arizona, I was directing a choir at Tanque Verde Lutheran Church.
Hey.
Yes, over by Sabino Canyon.
So was I.
Very nice.
Not at Tanque Verde.
Oh, I thought I had that little.
Oh yeah, you did have the kids choir. I totally forgot. We had the kids choir together at first. Yeah. And then you took a different church job in Sarita.
Sarita, yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So we did. Cool. Sorry. We've when you've moved 12 times, I think, in our
But I won't forget that job because that was where we tell the stories about our kids and how they would like.
So
go ahead.
For any of us who have ever conducted a children's choir or, taught kids, that you always see one kid that's kind of unruly. And there was this one kid who would run around during rehearsal and then be like under the piano by my feet. And the parents would come to this rehearsal and they'd sit in the back. And so we're just kind of sweating it because I'm playing the piano and Brett's conducting the choir. And that kid was our kid. And it was, it doesn't matter how much schooling you've been to, when you're conducting your own child, that is a truly leveling experience. Yeah. And Elise is a brilliant musician now and a very calm, ordinary human being. But as a 5-year-old, 4-year-old, it was something. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Elaine was curious, what year was that?
Yeah, so that was I was pregnant with Ben. 2006. I started 2006 through 2008.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah. Cool. I'm curious, Elaine, let us know in the comments. Did you happen to meet Jennaya and Brett at some point? Like we're curious what the connection is. So let us know in the chat. So, okay, I want to respect the fact that I know you have dinner arriving at some point here, but I have another question or two, and I want to give our listeners a chance to put any other last questions that they have in the chat. Feel free to do that. I have been curious about this one since in our pre-meeting, I floated this one to you, and you went, "Oh no." If you could have coffee or another kind of beverage with any composer, living or dead, who would it be and why?
You know, I think I probably would want to have coffee with Nadia Boulanger. So she was, teacher of composers, but also a composer, conductor. And so anyone who was anybody during this time, early 20th century was studying with Nadia Boulanger in Paris. And so she had access to all of these really high-powered male composers. And so I would be very curious to hear the inside scoop on everything. Yeah. But she was also brilliant. And, those of us who've been through, music history classes and stuff, we know about her. But really, I mean, when you're thinking about where a lot of people got their sort of street cred, it was through her teaching. And so maybe she doesn't get enough sort of credit for that just in general. So
cool. That's an answer I would never have predicted because I'm not familiar with that person, so that's great. All right. Well, I'm not seeing any other questions coming in chat, but if you have them, please leave them, and we'll pop one last one in. But I am wondering, Jennaya, if you could tell people a little bit about your hopes for this All Saints program, and if people could take away one thing from this program, what is it that you hope that they take away?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think that, as Brett and I were talking about this before we came on, I want people to take away two things. And one is that really the whole season is meant to be a 4-part story. And the season is called New, I Make All Things New. This first part about new life is really, you can't help but to think periodically throughout your life, what am I doing? What am I meant to do on this earth? Am I doing it? What's my legacy going to be? And I think that people think sometimes that going to an All Saints concert, you think we're commemorating people who've died in the last year or recently. And so that's going to be really sad. And I don't think I want to do that. Or they may think, maybe that's too much for me to take. I think that this concert is a really good balance of honoring people who have gone, but also being able to come into that space as a listener or as a singer, as a performer, and be able to take from it what you need, and to be able to offer in musical contribution in whatever way that you can. So what's unique, I think, about NLC's programs and these concerts is that the audience also becomes part of the music. And so there are 3 experiences in the program for the listeners to become the choir too. And so it is really that collective experience, and through being able to engage in, the idea of death and life, and how birth and death are so inextricably linked. That we come together to be able to be community and be there for each other. So I think that that's what I'd want people to come away from this, that it is really something that you're going to feel like I hope all the feels, but you'll also feel incredible joy and be able to, I would hope that somebody would hear something that just overwhelms them and they grab the arm of the person next to them. It's just that kind of experience.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Oh, I think it will be. I hope so. We're all hoping that that's how it goes, but I think everybody is excited, and I don't want to speak for all of the singers, but it has been just a delight, and the energy that we already have with you has just been kind of off the charts, a little bit scary. We're just like, this is so awesome. So we've loved preparing this program and are very excited to share it this weekend. I want to give people another bit of information about the concerts this weekend. So again, tomorrow evening at 7:30, we will be at Gloria Dei Lutheran Church in St. Paul. If you can't make it then, you can join us on Sunday, November 5th at 4 p.m. Central Time at Normandale Lutheran Church in Edina, or you can join us on our free live stream at nlca.com. If you navigate to nlca.com at 4 p.m. Central Time, then you will see a button to push to join the live stream, and you'll be able to experience the concert online. So no excuses for those of you who don't live here. You can join us as well. If you had a delightful time getting to know Jennaya and Brett this evening, I did want to let folks know that we do have kind of ongoing things like this that are happening, where we are doing some videos that go behind the music with the NLC. We have some conversations with Jennaya. We're going to be bringing in some other collaborators and things, giving you some sneak peeks and behind the scenes looks at what's happening with the choir. So if you're interested in that and having those videos delivered directly to your inbox, they come about twice a month or so. It's $40 for the whole season of content. That's like less than a cup of coffee a month, I think. It's incredibly inexpensive, and you get all of the behind the scenes details about the NLC. So if you're interested in that, you can head over to nlca.com and get signed up for that. Any last words that you have for our viewers and listeners out there?
Oh man, one thing that when you asked me what surprised me most about the singers, the other thing that I wanted to be able to, that's kind of funny that they're so social, but in all sincerity, I think part of it is that they have in the entire community of NLC, and that's the stakeholders, the patrons, the people who are sort of super fans, and the singers as well. I have been so incredibly honored by how invested they are in the vision that I've brought to this season, and it speaks to the incredible tradition and lineage of NLC that you have folks who are so invested in making music together. And, truly, I tell the singers this, and I think I told them this maybe in the retreat, that I believe that our job here is to bring joy and make good in this world. And then music is really just the way that we do it. And I really feel that at the heart of this organization is that concept. That's what we're here to do. And so I'm just thrilled to be standing in front of these remarkable humans every week. So.
Well, and we're thrilled to have you standing in front of us and leading us into this next chapter of the National Lutheran Choir. So yeah. We're delighted to have you. And I hope folks got a little bit of a sneak peek into, the season that's coming up, the concerts this weekend, as well as a little bit about Jennaya and Brett. They're delightful. When you see them at a concert, come talk to them.
Well, and I got to say real quickly, Jennaya and I started our careers in Minnesota.
We did.
I taught at a middle school here, Falcon Ridge Middle School, in ISD 196.
And we have one of his former singers in the choir.
Yep. And so I'm really hoping friends and colleagues in the Minneapolis area will come out. Just want to say, hi to them and be able to greet them. So please come out. I miss this community. So
yay. Well, we are so excited for the weekend. Ooh, I did want to do one follow-up, which is that Elaine says that she did not meet you in Tucson, but I sing in the choir there when we go from Washington State for the winter. So there you go.
Well, she will have to tell the Tanque Verde people hello for me. That was a great, just a beautiful church.
Fun. So. All right. Well, we're going to let you all go eat your food. I know you have some food being delivered hopefully soon here. And I want to just end with a little bit of the sound of what you will hear this weekend. If you join us either tomorrow evening at 7:30 or on Sunday at 4 p.m., either live or online. So thank you everybody for tuning in, and enjoy this little snippet from our upcoming program, All Saints New Life.